Welcome back to another episode of Victim to Victor podcast, where we are more than just a podcast, but we're here raising awareness against sexual abuse. I am your host, Sherie M. Davis, and as y'all can see, once again, my co-host, Ariana Hullum, she is MIA, but we pray her well. And so I got a good episode today, despite, the absence of my co-host. I really do believe I have a jewel that's decided to come on to the podcast, share his story, and I cannot wait until y'all meet him. Just a little update with where we've been. If you guys noticed, we didn't post this Thursday. Between myself and Ari, we actually both have been going through our own traumatic experience. Ariana, if she comes or whenever her time comes, she will share. But for myself, I'm currently on a boot cast, whatever you want to call it, with a fractured foot as I was walking my dog a couple weeks ago. And while I was walking her, it was a pit bull that charged at me and her. And I'm like screaming, trying to get the owner's attention. I didn't see the owner, but I screamed, no owner. And I just fight or flight. I went into that fight or flight mode, and I jumped on top of a truck and fractured 3 bones in my foot. So the pain was excruciating. And I tell you this, it's like another level of mental health or PTSD because I am so triggered by dogs now. I walk my dog in the back of my house. I don't even walk her in the front anymore because I just lost the level of trust. But either way, I am well with prayer, with the healing of God. I am doing well. I'm healing well. I don't need surgery. To God be the glory. That was my main concern is, will I have to go under the knife? Because I just don't like going. I've never had surgery. Only surgery I had is when I had my second daughter and I had to get a cesarean. That's it. Other than that, to God be the glory, I have not had surgery and I don't need surgery. So we're back. I'm so glad to be back because sexual abuse, again, we're here to raise awareness against sexual abuse. This is a very important topic. It's also a hard topic. I will not sit here and say that this is an easy conversation to have. It absolutely is not. But somebody got to have the conversation because I think one of the barriers is too many people are suffering in silence. So as you know, if you've been to this channel before, you hear me say, speak up. You hear me say there's so many people that are suffering in silence. So the call of action of this podcast is to get people, women, men, children to begin to speak up. Now, before I go any further, I got to ask y'all, listen, don't forget, please, to like, subscribe, share, hit the notification so that you can be notified on upcoming episodes. And then our comment section is open. We want to hear from you. We want to have conversation and build community together. So if you haven't seen the last 4 episodes, this is episode 5. We made it to 5. Thank to God be the glory. If you haven't seen the last 4 episodes, I encourage you, go back and check out the powerful testimonies. The last episode we had Dr. Maria Amarante came on, and she shared her insight as a clinical director, someone who is experienced in the field of mental health. She shared the most powerful insight. Please go back because Dr. Amarante is offering pro bono services for anyone that lives in the Milwaukee, Wisconsin area. Reach out to her. You will find her contact information in our bio and things of that nature. So please go back, check out the other episodes, comment, and enjoy. So today I have a very, very special guest. I'm so glad that he came on, agreed to coming on and sharing his story. Like I told him when we talked, he just has this aura about him. And y'all, just a little history on me and Damareis. As some of you know, if you've seen the other episodes, I work in the foster care field where I work in transitional housing. So I train a lot of young teenagers to become young adults around independent living and life skills and things of that nature. And Damareis was one of my clients about a year and a half ago or so. And he has graduated and he's no longer in foster care. And here he is living well and doing in college and doing well. And so I asked him to come on and share his story. And I'm so glad Sir Damareis. I don't know why. Like I said, the aura that he carries, I just keep hearing Sir. Welcome, Sir Damareis Lewis, to the show. Welcome, Damareis. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
Thank you
for having me.
Taking the time out to have this conversation and understanding the vision and the purpose and what we're trying to do. I really appreciate you for your time. It won't go unnoticed. So, all right. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I am in college. I am a UWEC criminal justice student. I'm studying to be a lawyer, actually.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And it's pretty amazing. While in college, I started a fitness page, while also talking about faith and helping people grow in their relationship with Christ, and get closer to Christ.
Yeah.
And God has blessed me enough to get the attention that He wants me to have, and the attention that He wants me to need for His kingdom. And so on my spare time, I work out, I make videos when it relates to Christ, and I make videos in the gym. But that's not the only thing I do. I'm also an artist. I am a singer. And so I also make music.
Yeah.
And it's pretty amazing.
Sounds amazing. And I do remember your worship experience. Wrap Around Milwaukee had the talent show for the kids that were in foster care, and you decided it was during COVID, so it was a virtual talent show, and you did the most dynamic worship service where I was like, oh my God, it was amazing, like bold, right? You did it on a platform where you don't know whose faith is where, and you just said, you know what, I'm gonna let God use me. I stayed from the beginning to the end, and I'm gonna be honest, I've been to those talent shows in person. That was the first virtual talent show. I think it was amazingly done. I would do it again if it was virtual. I'm telling you. But I do remember your worship experience. Also, when Damareis was in the independent living program, I remember him being the loudest one in the building with his worship services, and I would get phone calls like, could you tell the boy you're in apartment 2?
One.
Apartment 1, like, could you tell apartment 1 to turn his music? Like, this young man would like go into worship. I love your compassion to be so young. Your heart, I mean, you were 17 then. You had such a heart to cry out for God, and you were not afraid to show that sensitivity, that vulnerability, wherever. It just did not matter you. And that's literally what relationship looks like. We should not be ashamed of the gospel. We should not be ashamed to walk in, who you are. If you're a believer, walk in that, right? Believe even in the midst of darkness. Believe it when you're even around people who don't believe. Still believe. So I appreciate your boldness for that. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Sir Damareis, share with us your ads. Like, what platforms? I want to tag, I'll list it on the bottom of this page, but let the viewers know where they can reach out to you.
So you can reach out to me through Instagram or TikTok. I really don't respond to my DMs in TikTok. I don't have Facebook, unfortunately. I got rid of it.
Yeah.
But you can definitely respond to me on Instagram. It's DAMAREIS_J. And if you need some guidance or some person to talk to, you can definitely hit me up. I'm not going to respond 24/7, but I will make time for you.
Awesome. I remember that too, Damareis, when you were in the program. You were like talking to people in other countries, weren't you? I remember you were in the car with me. I was taking you, I think, to the store, and you had someone. What country were you in? Is it?
Oh man. Pakistan.
I was like, why are you on the phone with Pakistan right now? And I heard you were evangelizing to somebody in Pakistan, and it's just amazing. It just amazes me, man. Your ministry is so bold. And if you notice, like, one of the things about, when you have a ministry of God, from God, oftentimes that ministry does not look as traditional as most people think it would be. And what I mean by that, the podium, the four walls of the church, a microphone, and things of that nature. No, it's
No,
so much more than that.
yeah.
You know what I'm
And
saying?
my ministry, as I follow God, is, I remember when I first started out, actually,
How
it
old were you?
was, I was probably, well, I first started out as 12, but I didn't know what I was doing. But when I first gave an online service, it was hilarious. I was 12 years old, and I was at this residential, and they had me. It actually was so moving. I just I did not expect the kids, because they're all in there for other things like
Yeah,
stealing cars and etc.
right.
And I did not expect God would use me in that way and have these people. It was about probably like, I think, 100 to 130 kids. They brought them all to the auditorium. I built this presentation, and I would give a word, and I would sing, and I just saw God work in so many ways that I can't explain.
Yeah.
But it is good, and my ministry is still building. I'm still learning things,
Absolutely.
and I think eventually I hope to just travel and go and give God's word to people, whether that be to churches, whether that be to parks. That's what my plan is. So
Well, now you will be getting into missionary, and it's funny that you said that, because as I was in prayer, I don't know if it was this morning's prayer or yesterday morning's prayer, but I was in prayer and I heard the Lord say missionary. I didn't feel that it was personal to me, but I heard missionary, and what I took from that is to make sure that I support the missionaries. I think when I heard
mhm,
missionaries, I heard a leader's voice. I don't know whose voice it was, but I heard a leader's voice saying to support the missionaries. And so you're getting into missionary work now. When you do start, going out, let me know so that I can contribute financially to that journey, right?
mhm,
Because that
yeah,
I would tie to that. Okay, I would, and
mhm,
I don't even
yeah, yeah,
I'm not traditional like that, where I don't believe the tithe is determined on our destiny. The tithing is not
no,
based on destiny. I would do it from my heart, but religiously, no, right? But if I did
right,
do it religiously, I would give to a mission such as the one you have, right?
mhm.
So consider it as a tithe, an offering, whatever. Know that it's from my heart, and I want to support what God is doing in your life. So
Thank you,
yeah,
thank
and I was
you.
going to ask you that when you talked a little bit about your ministry growing from the time you first came to the Lord, you see the difference. Now, I also observed you when you first came in. Me being a minister for 16 years, I was ordained in the church, but I don't really go by those ordinations. But I do have my master's degree in biblical studies, and yes, as a veteran in the Word of God and in ministry, yes, there were some things I observed about you that I said to myself, he has a lot to learn, and so,
Yeah.
but I never did I criticize. I just watched because you had such a zeal and a passion. I think only time I would say something is if you were in a critical place. I would say just be careful and make sure you're being
Mhm.
led by God. I do remember invoking you in the spirit sometimes, like be careful and make sure you're following the spirit of God. Don't put yourself out there too far. And so,
And now that you, oh, sorry about
no,
that.
no, go ahead.
Now that you mentioned that, so my first semester, I just want to piggyback on what you said. My first semester of college, I was, when also, I don't know if you know, when I was 12, I wanted to be a pastor.
I
When
remember.
I started when I started growing up, I started to get away from that.
Mm,
And I was like, okay, this is not what God is calling me to do. This is,
yeah,
and it's funny because what I always felt was I can't lead people and my own life is not straight.
there you go.
But this month, I heard God say, it's not about your life being straight right
Yeah,
now,
yeah,
because it's about the process, it's about the journey.
yeah.
And in order I can heal you as you do.
That's right.
People would say, you're not qualified to do that.
Mm,
You have a past. They will hold your past over your head.
they will.
But God is saying, when I call you to something,
I qualify.
That's what it needs to be.
Yes.
And so this month I was like, I was walking, I started walking in the parks and I started running, and like out of nowhere, like the spirit was just coming down on me. Like it was insane. Like I would get words from him and I would literally go on my phone, I would jot it down. I said, oh yeah, this is the
God.
one.
That's
And
God.
so yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Growing. You're growing. And I truly believe, yes, God will move in you while he's moving through you, while he's working with you. No, our lives don't have to be perfected, but what we teach, what we preach, we should mirror that. And so,
Right.
yeah, we should definitely mirror that. But when you said that God, and there's a scripture in Romans, I believe it's Romans. If it's not in Romans, it's one of Paul's letters. But Paul said that God calls, he don't call the qualified, he qualifies the call. So if God calls you, he will qualify you. And if he put you in a place to minister, even though you don't feel like you're ready, you don't know where to start, you don't have the words, like he told Moses, don't worry about what you're going to say. Don't worry about it. Just go. Just think about it. Moses went and he had a speech impediment. Moses had he suffered from insecurities, right? And God said, just go. The rest I'll do. I just need you to go. And so, yes, I do believe that as we go, that's something too that I had to learn throughout my walk. I think I was trying to get in a perfected place, and I thought I had to be perfected in areas of my life as I was a younger Christian, and that delayed my ministry. I'm gonna be honest with you; it delayed my ministry tremendously. And so I'm just glad that you are going and not listening to the voices in the background that's telling you that your past disqualified you. No, your past, if anything, gives you more qualification than anything. Okay,
Yeah,
because it shows how what God can pull out of darkness and bring into his marvelous light. So I can't wait to be able to even come and experience your ministry again, because your host family, they sent us videos. You probably didn't know it. They sent us videos when you first got to Eau Claire. You were in the park and you were worshiping, leading the congregation. Yeah. And I was like, this guy, you just got so much energy, and I love it. I love how you're not allowing your past to dictate how you move today. I appreciate that. And I think a lot of people can learn from that. And I just turned 46 this year. What you have, I did not have at your age. How old are you now, Damareis?
I'm only 20.
You're only 20. And I remember when you came, you was a little 17-year-old. Let me just say this. Let me say this for the viewers. When I first met this young man, he was a little pudgy little thing, okay? He was pudgy. He came in his sharp suits, red, and I remember my favorite one was the red suit, okay? I'm just saying. Yeah. He came in his suit, 17 years old, wearing a whole suit. And yes, I do remember your desired occupations. You wanted to either be a pastor or a police officer. I never forget that. When I look at both of those positions, I think of authority in both of them. And I think the reality is you are a man of authority, and it doesn't have to look that way, but that's what's in you. God has placed a spirit of authority in you. And I'm just so glad that you are keeping that gift connected to God, where he can use that and take it beyond a level that you can't even imagine.
Yes.
Eyes have not seen, ears have not heard. Okay. So you are well on your way, sir. And I'm really glad to see that you have grown so much. And I want to experience your word ministry. I want to experience that word ministry, because that's what you didn't have when you were coming up. You didn't have it.
No, I did not.
You didn't have the word. And that's what I observed, but I didn't stop it because you had the zeal. And in my head, I'm just praying, give them the word. Now, if you connect the word to that zeal, boy, you're going to take off like a rocket. So I'm eager to hear your word ministry.
Yeah, I think that's when the pastor had me pray. I think that's what really he said, I need to mentor you. And I think what he meant was, you don't have the word.
Yep.
And so I've been studying. I try to read a chapter a day. Whatever it is. Right now I'm on Acts. I'm reading the chapter of when God sent the Holy Spirit down.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm trying to study and really match what the zeal to the word.
Yeah, that's so good. Anytime you want to study together, let me know. We can do
okay.
I don't care. We can study together because I love studying the Word of God. I love it.
Right, right,
Okay,
right.
sir. So, and then you probably talked about this a little bit. Maybe you did, but what inspired you to speak up today and share your story?
I think just being able to know that for myself that I am an overcomer. I think people sometimes will tell us that we're overcomer, but we don't believe it. And in order for us to kind of believe it, we have to speak it.
Yeah.
And so me sharing my story is a chance for me to now believe that I'm walking as an overcomer, and that I can inspire other people to come out and give their story.
Yeah.
Because I think it's very imperative that people don't let that hold them back. You know, when I was growing up, this was holding me back.
Yeah.
But when I
Mhm.
accepted it, and when I let God handle it and
Yeah.
have it, I was able to move.
Much more freer. You were much more free to move.
Yeah,
That's so
yeah.
good. That's good, Damareis. And I think that's a big point. It is that acceptance. Like, it happened. You can't change the past. If you go back and look at Dr. Amarante's episode, and she talked about that reality of one being abused, yeah, that is something that a person has to sit with and not deny it. And I think
Mm-mm.
sometimes that silence denies, the silence denies the encounter. The silence, and I say this on every episode, the silence condones it. The silence excuses the behaviors. The silence says that it was okay. You know what I mean? And it wasn't okay. And you said something, I believe it was during your consultation, and I know you're probably going to say it again. You said you knew it was wrong, and when it happened, everyone who I've interviewed on this podcast have said the same words. I promise you. So this is like language that someone who suffers in their silence, they have that very same language, but they don't know how to get it out. You know what I mean? So yes,
Mm.
I hope and pray your story does encourage as many who are willing to speak up. Come, and again, whether if it's here or somewhere else, speak up. Please speak up. So now I want you to go a little bit into your story. Like, what can you tell me about, what you remember about your experience or experiences?
So yeah, I grew up in foster care, and I remember at the age of 6, um, I was at this foster home. The caretaker, she had left to do her job, and I was supervised by another adult. The adult was probably like 25 years old, and I remember the adult kind of bringing me into her room. She kind of slid my hand on her legs and went up from there. Um, like I said before, I knew this was wrong. And when it was a moment of just I didn't feel great, right?
Mm,
I did not feel okay. And she told me not to say anything, but I
mhm.
knew it was wrong. So I told the social workers when they came, they didn't believe me.
Wow.
They did not believe that I experienced this.
Mhm.
Um, and so I did what a 6-year-old would do. I acted out. I
Yeah.
did not, I didn't, I acted out, I kept running away, and eventually they removed me from that foster home
Mhm.
because the caretaker couldn't handle it anymore.
Right.
But after that incident, I did not see that woman ever again
Okay.
because I think she knew it was wrong.
Okay.
Another incident happened in a group home where I was sexually abused by a male. We shared a bunk together, and
So this male was a resident.
yep, he was a resident.
And how old were you? Did you say
I
your
was
age?
12.
Okay.
Nope, I was 12 years old,
And the first time, did you
and
say your age? How old were you?
6.
Okay. Okay.
And so they knew he was in there for that I have found out. He was in there for actually sexually abusing other people in
Wow.
the world. And so my thought was, why would they put me in a room with a pedophile?
Very insensitive. Yeah.
And so I told the staff members when I told the members the next day, and they did not believe me.
Mm-hmm.
Same as happened in the foster home. They did not believe me. And now thinking back on this, I think, you know, your story, well, what you have done can affect your what people see. And they saw that I was this 12-year-old bad kid that lied, still, did all these things, and so they did not believe me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, anyway, I kept making a notice of it.
Okay.
And eventually they called the detective. I told the detective my story, and the detective didn't believe me. No.
Wow.
It took the detective taking me to the hospital to run tests, and the test came back that, yes, something had been done.
Okay.
And she came back in the room and she said, "I am so terribly sorry."
Oh my God.
And so after that, I went back to the group home, and they removed him. They actually took him to prison because he was 18 years old. They took him to prison. And I think like 2 months later, I received a letter from him saying, like an apology letter, saying, "I am so terribly sorry for what I've done to you."
Okay.
And at that point in my life, I didn't care what he had to say.
Yeah. Okay.
Because he took my childhood from me.
Yeah.
And so, and it's not a joke. I really mean he took my childhood from me. I had to grow up at that point. Well, I had to grow up when I was in foster care, but I had to grow up even more.
Yeah.
In that point.
I get that.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So he was 18 and you were 12.
Mm-hmm.
Poor baby. Whew. That is, the common thing in that. And when I listen to other people who have shared their experience, you went through what every victim fears, and that's being denied. Because like, oh my God, it's like you degrading what you experience. It's like your experience being degraded or overlooked, dismissed. And that's a hard thing to sit with. And I'm so sorry that the responsible adults that were around you failed you and did not listen to you. And I'm hoping, like, even through this podcast, and other guests have said it, speak up anyhow. Anyone who's listening, if it's you, overcome that fear. And I always say, if one person don't, and I like how you did that though. One person didn't listen, you went to somebody else. That person didn't listen, you went to somebody. You keep telling it until somebody listens and take action towards, what happened to you. But man, I'm so sorry. Like, that's so hard. Now, how did you feel? Like, what do you feel about the guy texting or sending you the letter? Because did you find peace in that letter? Like, now when you think about it, do you find peace in the letter?
Now when I think about it, I definitely found peace. I don't think the letter gave me peace. I think me accepting what has been done gave me peace. I had to accept it in order to move on.
Yeah.
That's the reality. I guess the letter just provided a reason why he did it, and like, I don't think the letter gave me peace. Even in that moment, as me thinking back at 12 years old, it, it didn't give me peace.
Okay.
No.
That makes sense. Which will lead me to my next question. How did you cope after? And I know that you kind of expound a little bit on it, but talk about how you coped after, like, think about 13, 14, 15. What did life look like? What was those struggles? Talk about the lasting effects of after the abuse. How did it affect you?
Yeah, so there wasn't any coping from 13, 14, 15. I found myself like not trusting people. I trusted no one.
It's common.
It was very hard for me to open up to somebody. I found myself abusing other people by just stealing, lying, being manipulative. The things that a 14-year-old kid will do when these type of things happen to you. And I just found myself being a troubled youth. Is what they would call it.
That's how you cope.
Yeah, that's how I coped. And eventually it got me in trouble. It got me in trouble, but in my mind, I did not have a nurturing parent to go back to. I was hurt in foster home. I was hurt in residential. I was hurt in group home. Why would I ever go back there? So I felt that the only way that I could carry what I've been through and not trust anybody if I keep doing it.
Yeah.
Keep running away. Keep not trusting. And then at that moment, I had to fend for myself because you don't have any food on the street. So you had to take from other people.
Wow.
And so I would go into Walmart and little gas stations and I would pickpocket everything I saw and they would run after me, but they couldn't catch me.
Wow.
And the group homes, they just got tired of chasing me. They got tired of running after me. They said, if he's going to go, let him go. Because that's what I put them through.
Yeah.
I don't think it was till maybe 16 and a half where I coped, really coped.
Yeah. Okay.
Where I really coped with it. Because yes, I knew Jesus. Oh my goodness. Yes, I knew Jesus, but the question was, God, why did you let something happen like this to me?
That's common.
Or God, why didn't I have nurturing parents that really cared for me?
Yeah.
And I remember myself just sitting, crying in tears, just drenching in tears, like crying out to God, why? So I don't think it was till 16 and a half where I actually coped with what happened.
And I think you did that in a really good amount of time because by the time you were 17, then independent living became an option. So like, when did that come about? Like, when did you feel that you were ready to be independent? It's almost like taking all of that trauma into an environment where you're just completely by yourself. Like, when did that happen?
So I think, like I said, I've always been independent when it comes to these type of things.
Gotcha.
Because I felt like I've always been alone. So it was easy when they said independent program. I'm like, well, I've been in residential foster home all my life. Well, this is a new chance for me to do what I want and do it right.
Okay.
And so I've always been independent. That's why I think it was easy. It was a matter of the help of living independent.
Yes.
Getting them, getting food, getting a job.
Yes.
Getting a phone.
Yeah.
So it was the help on living independent because I've never done it before.
Yeah.
But I definitely think I've always been independent. Yeah. I think I was ready to be independent because it was either I was going to keep going down this road and end up in jail.
Yeah.
In prison. Or I could show these people, okay, I'm not another statistic. Period. That I can be successful.
That's right.
Yeah.
I love it. And you did amazing in independent living, okay? I haven't updated the website. Matter of fact, no, editor. Now that I do have an editor now. Shout out to my daughter at Shauna Been Up. Follow her on Instagram. She is my editor, and I still have your video in my phone. I'm just now making the connection that I do have an editor now, and I can give this video to her so she can edit it. I will make sure I get your story out there on our website because your story is very inspirational. You did amazing in the program, and then to even to take the leap of faith that you took by changing counties and, going to a college in a different county all by yourself and living with people that you have to learn to get to know in a short period of time. I think it's very courageous, and look at you now. You're doing absolutely amazing. I was concerned about you going there. I'm gonna be honest. I was.
Actually, here's the thing. I'm actually planning on, so I'm actually, well, UWM has always accepted me. So I'm actually applying to Marquette University for
Okay.
their law program and their criminal justice programs, because it's going to be easier for me to get into their law school.
Okay.
And now, if they don't accept me next year, I am going to be transferring to UWM.
Nice. Well,
Um,
that's where my daughter goes.
oh yeah, so I just think it's kind of better for me. I think just there when coming up here, and I really wish you would have told me, like, you kind of did tell me. You told me, but I wanted. My thing was, okay, these people were supporting me. These people, you know, and when I got up here, what made it comfortable to stay is they were buying me, paying for my phone bill. They were doing this, doing that, and they were just, helping me in all these things. But I realized that, it's time for me to branch out. I need to do these things on my own now. And if I really need them, then they can show their support.
I
But
did.
it's going to have to be from a distance.
I did tell you that because I knew that they were smothering people, very sweet people. Let me tell you, I love, if you don't mind me saying her name, Julie, and her husband. I have
Julie.
a husband, but Julie is a sweetheart. I love her. But I can tell that they were very smothering and nurturing people. And they took you in like, this is my little boy, and I'm going to make sure he doesn't fall and give himself a little boo-boo. And I'm a kid. I knew. So yes, I probably said it and didn't say it.
Well, yeah, now me and Julie, we don't have arguments, but we butt heads and we disagree on a lot of things.
Yeah.
And I don't think she wants me to leave Eau Claire. And I
No,
definitely think
absolutely
even
not.
even my personal mom, or my biological mom, says she definitely is gotten attached.
Yes.
Um and
Yes.
so, and I thank God for them, because
Yes.
without them, I don't know
I
where I
appreciate
would have been.
it.
But
Yep.
like I said, it definitely is time for me to branch off. I've been in college. I know what the experience is like. I
Yeah,
know I can be successful in Milwaukee now.
absolutely.
And if they, so yeah.
And they'll come and visit. They'll absolutely come and
Yeah.
visit anytime.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you just got a whole nother family up there in Eau Claire. And
Yeah.
and you got to consider them more when you do come back. You got to consider them more on holidays and birthdays. You know what I'm saying? You just got somewhere else
Right.
to go to hang out and to spend time with. So yeah, Julie's a sweetheart, but I can definitely tell Julie has a strong nurturing spirit. She's a mama, okay, and she gonna make
Yeah.
sure her babies are well taken care of. That's Julie.
Yeah.
So, you got a good family though, good extended family. So
Thank you.
you did amazing though. And I think, if you do make that transition, I think you're gonna do absolutely amazing. Like probably even better.
Yeah.
Probably even better. So well, Sir Damareis, tell us what makes you strong today.
Well, I think really what it comes down to is my faith. My faith is really, I think all this time God has protected me and covered me, shielded me. Um, just I don't, like, it's amazing.
Yeah.
When you think about what road I could have gone down,
Yes.
all of the things that has happened to me, and I just think my faith is what makes me strong today. And you know, the, like I told you before, people interact with me, they encounter me, and they see the good that in my life. They're like, "Who is this guy?"
Yeah.
And they see the good that I have now, but they don't understand the struggle. Even college friends that I have now, that I've told nobody my story.
Yeah.
I've told nobody. No, and one guy I was working with, he said, "Dude, you came out of nowhere. Who are you?" And I'm like, and for a while, that's how I liked it to stay.
Yep.
Not nobody knowing. That's why I
Yep.
probably moved to Eau Claire.
Yeah.
Nobody knows who I am.
Yeah.
But I think in order to get people to open up, and I have to tell them who I am.
Yeah.
Okay, this is the things I've gone through, and I'm not here just to be here. I'm
Yeah.
here because I fought to be here.
Yeah.
And so, what makes me strong is just my faith. It's
Yeah.
just my faith is growing every day. It's what gives me the strength to get up every day and do what needs to be done.
Amen. 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 Now, what do you think is important for people to know about being sexually traumatized? And this is from people, someone like myself, who's never been sexually traumatized. Like, what's important for someone like myself to know?
I just think I think mainly it's definitely important that you understand that people have gone through this, and you be sympathetic. In my story, like it took a while for people to be sympathetic, um, and understand that I was telling the truth. I think because people like me, myself, growing up, are going to definitely have trust issues. I've overcome that, but realize that they might not be trusting, and you might have to work with them a little bit harder because certain people, when you don't fit the cut, they'll throw you out. But they don't realize, okay, maybe something else is up.
Oh, that's good.
So just that.
That's good. So have patience and temperance with when you know someone has been sexually abused. Just have a little bit more patience with them. That's good, Damareis. And so what's important for the victims to know?
I think if you haven't gotten help, I think if you see this video, now is the chance to get help. We are living examples that our stories don't have to stay the same. Get help, see a therapist, because you can be an overcomer. It's important not to live in that hurt, live in that pain. It's important to accept it and move on. You're not going to be able to move on if you keep living in it, if you don't accept it. Yeah.
That's good, Damareis. Thank you so much. And what would you say to someone who is still being sexually abused?
Jesus, help me. You need to get help.
Speak up.
Whatever you have to do, use the God-given voice that you have to speak up. Because it's not going to stop. It's not going to stop until you speak up.
So good, Damareis. Whew, thank you, sir. Sir Damareis, thank you for coming on here, sharing your story. Usually my guests are here in person. You're my first virtual guest. And so I should have already mailed this out, but I will be mailing out okay, let's get that little length off of there. I will be mailing out your Overcomer t-shirt to you this weekend. Please rock it. Wear it with joy. Whatever this is that's in it, don't worry about it. I'm gonna get that out. I don't know what, I think it was sent last year. But yes, I will send you your t-shirt. Wear it well, because you definitely are a voice of an overcomer. I appreciate you again coming on, taking the time out, sharing your story. And I'm hoping that through your story, someone hear it and their life be changed, and they take the necessary steps to get their freedom, or they take the necessary steps to speak up and get their story out. Thank y'all so much for watching today. As usual, I have to make that one of my call of actions. If you or someone you know has experienced or is still being sexually abused, they have suffered from rape or incest, please contact the National Sexual Assault Hotline at 1-800-656-4673, or go to their website at www.rain, which is RAINN.org, to speak with someone to get some resources and the support that you need. Please speak up. That is the purpose of this podcast, is to get young, older people, men, women, children, to speak up. And like Sir Damareis said, say something. I can't remember how you put it. But listen to what Sir Damareis said. Get to somebody. You said something, Damareis. I'm trying to recall it in my memory.
I think I said if you don't speak up, you can't move on or something like that.
Yeah. Speak up so that you can move on and be your best. And so if you're one who maybe you found a sense of a bit liberty to speak, but you don't know where to speak it at. If you're interested in sharing your story and talk about how you have overcame being sexually abused, you're welcome to come on our channel. We invite people all over the world. Email us at victimthovictorchannel@gmail.com. You will find the link in the bio. Also, it will be at the bottom of this page. So reach out to us, contact us, and we will be happy to set up a consultation to get to know you and get you ready to tell your story to your followers, your family, friends, whoever the case may be. And so I want to always keep this statistic. You will find this statistic on the RAINN.org website. It's that every 9 minutes, someone in the world is sexually abused, and every 68 seconds, that victim is a child. Help us to combat that statistic. We want to decrease or stop it altogether. Now that'll be an amazing thing if we can stop it, because evil is lurking. But help us to rid this evil from the lives of our children and from the lives of people altogether. Thank you so much for joining us today. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, hit the notification so that you can be notified on upcoming episodes. And please comment. We want to hear you. I want to hear what do y'all feel about Sir Darius? How did his story impact you? And if you want to know more about him, you will find his platforms also in the link, and they will be listed on the bottom of this page. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to tune in the next episode, which will be episode 6. Don't forget to check us out. And I appreciate you. Thank you, and have a good day.